Hi everyone, my name is Christiana Williams and I'm here today with Yasmeen, and we are going to be talking about her life, her success, mental health, and everything today. Yasmeen is an actress and she just recently starred in Upside Down Magic, which is amazing. Yes. And it was so good. And I really want to do this because I know that so many people out there are going through something, they're struggling, they need someone who will show that they're there for them. They need someone, or they need to see that other people are going through the same thing that they're going through and they're not alone. So I really love to do this, and I'm so happy to be here with Yasmeen today. And we're going to jump right into the interview, and I'm going to link all of her social media down below, and I'm also going to link my Teenage Mental Love page and my website, so that just in case anyone needs anyone to speak with, I'm always here. So yes. Yeah. Yes. Firstly, I wanted to ask you, how are you doing in life, and how are you doing mentally right now?
I'm doing pretty well right now. It's an up and down type of thing, especially with quarantine. But as of right now, I'm feeling a little bit better. It's social media is kind of difficult, especially when you're on it so much during quarantine and just trying to keep yourself busy. But
Of course.
I'm doing good.
Yes. Oh, that's amazing. And I
Yeah.
wanted to add on with what you said. I really love what you said with like trying to find something to do, and like I feel like so many of us are bored. We have our cell phones, we pick it up, we scroll through, and then social media is just can be kind of toxic environment sometimes.
Yeah, it's a little bit draining.
Of course, yes. And then when you see your screen time pop up and you see like you've been on there for 11 hours, it's
Right.
yeah.
You're like, that's unhealthy.
Yes. Yes, and that's when it literally sets in and you're like, whoa.
Mhm.
Yes, and that's amazing. And I wanted to ask you your like opinion on social media and it being toxic and everything.
Yeah, I think being an actress and having some sort of face in the media, it's important to have one, so you have a different way of communicating with casting directors or just people that may follow you and stuff like that. But at the same time, with that, you find yourself, scrolling through your Discover page and seeing all of these other people that you're like, am I good enough? And you start self-comparing, and I think it's a cool way to connect, but too much of it can be really, really, really bad for someone. So taking that mental health day is definitely important.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I love that mental health day. And
Yeah.
and I feel like it's a lot harder, maybe not even harder, but it's really hard for people who are actresses, singers too, because a lot of people imagine that their lives are perfect and that they have nothing to worry about. Yeah. And
Yeah, I just posted about. Oh, I'm so sorry. Were you going to say something?
No, yeah, I was going to say if you had
I
an
was going
opinion.
to say. I just posted something similar to that recently. That like, not only influencers or actresses or singers and stuff like that, but I feel like everybody expects you to put your most perfect side and your best foot forward on social media, which just feels so fake.
Yeah.
Because everybody goes through something at night, during the day. Like, everybody has hard times, and it's like weird to not see that. You just see like that one picture perfect side of someone.
Of course, that's amazing. Yeah, I love that so much. Thank you for saying that. And that's all of that was true, and that's perfect. And I feel like a lot of actresses and singers, they believe that they have to put out that perfect persona, and they don't even act like themselves on social media. They're a completely different person. So, but I love what you said about that, and I wanted to jump into like your life growing up, and like what was it like growing up with your family and everything, and how your mental health shaped around your life.
Yeah, I'm very blessed. I had a good growing up. My parents were always very supportive. My sister's always been kind of great. I mean, say kind of great. She's been great. But, I grew up in Vegas. I lived there for 12 and a half years, and I just moved out to LA last January, so 2019.
Yeah.
And I was always like a pretty happy-go-lucky kid. Like, I never really thought about anything. My mom and my dad were pretty, sheltering and strict and stuff like that, so they kind of protected me from that stuff. But as soon as you get your phone, you start to really realize what's happening in the world. It kind of starts to set in.
Yes.
So I was always like really good up until like last year. Then I started to like experience some, depression or just numb days, if that makes any sense. But And I think the only thing that had to do with that was the switch from like that really happy childhood all the time to like realizing that there's real stuff out there, you know?
Of course.
And that was like a slow burn for me, but learning to deal and grasp that is,
wow.
You know, it's something.
Of course, it really is. It really is something. And I love what you said about like it was like a slow burn and learning all the things that, you know, because like I feel like when when we're children, we're in like a happy bubble. We don't really know much about the real world. And then as soon as we step into like becoming teenagers or preteens, like you get social media, especially. I wanted to go back to that, like, you know, and all of a sudden you see everything, like especially during this quarantine time. I know so many things were happening, from protests to, it was just so much at once. And
yeah, no, for sure. We get so much information so quickly.
Yes, of course.
And that's another one that like affects us so like much, that everything happening all the time, like we know about it within an instant.
Yes.
It's not like everything's settled down, like it's still happening and we know about it.
Thank you. Exactly. You're right. And when you like started to feel that slow burn, is there anything that you ever did like to cope with it, or like if you're having a hard time, is there anyone you spoke to or reached out to?
You know, I kind of did the not so healthy thing, and I bottled it up for a long time. Like there was a good 3-4 months that I kept everything inside, like didn't tell anybody what I was feeling, thinking, and that can be so hard, and especially when you like go to lay down at night and everything starts like compile and you start dwelling and thinking about it. But after those 4 months, I kind of like hit this breaking point where I felt like I needed to. I think I went to my dad first because he was just kind of who was there when I was like but he helped me out a lot, and then I kind of talked to my really, really close friends about it. But as far as coping goes, I kind of just talking about it really is the best medicine, at least for me. I know some people have different ways of dealing with things, but really getting it out and talking to someone you trust helps so much.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. And when you said that, like, for example, you bottled it up, I feel like so many of us do that. And then like, there's that time where we just snap. And I feel like that really, really, you know, it's something that's so, how do you say it? Like, it's something that's so coherent, and like you see it in every single person, and then it's hard to like, and it's hard to like even give advice to that, because I mean some people just aren't ready to open up yet. And
exactly. I think we should feel like the pressure and like the demonization of like what all the sadness and depression really is, and it's just normal.
Yes, for
everyone
sure.
goes through it at some point in their life, and we just feel like it's wrong.
Yes, exactly, yes. And I wanted to also ask you, like, when you went into acting and such, was there ever a time where you, like, felt like, oh, I don't know if I really want to do this, especially when it comes to mental health?
Yeah, it happens. I mean, it happens a lot, because in this industry, there's a lot of rejections. There's a lot of no's. There's a lot of you're not tall enough, short enough, you know, you're not light enough, dark enough, whatever. Yeah. It's a lot. It has a lot to do with your look, and that starts to take a toll. And sometimes you forget that it is about your look, and you kind of think like, maybe I'm just not talented enough, maybe this and that, because you'll get rejected 100 times before you get that one really good yes. Yeah. So I could definitely say that I've had some breakdowns and just like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I need to just type a really sporadic email. And you never send it, so it's okay. But
yes,
there have been definitely been times that I just feel like I can't do it. But the love of the craft carries on.
Yes, and that's amazing. And I love how some people say that when you have the good days, like it really makes it worth it, if that makes sense. Like it really makes it worth it, especially when you have the bad days, you know, you have to think about the good days to keep on pushing forward, because some people, like, they hear a no, and then if they had given up, they would have never reached that yes that they were seeking.
Yes, exactly. No, and I think that's what a lot of people in the industry wait for. If they see the same person coming back over and over again, they're like, you know what, she's got thick skin. She knows that, you know, if she sticks around, something will come of it, or if she works hard enough, or this or that. it does take a lot
Wow.
of patience.
That's amazing. Wow, yes. I love that. And when you were preparing for your role in Upside Down Magic, because that was like amazing, like the acting was wonderful. Yeah. Of
Thank you.
course, yes, of course. And I wanted to ask, like, when you were preparing for that role, what's that like? Like, what's the process?
Um, it all happens so fast
Right.
that I don't even remember all that well. I know that I had basically just 2 auditions, and I got booked it within like 2 weeks, and I was out in Canada that same day. So
Wow.
I didn't have all that much time to prepare, but I know that preparing for the auditions and stuff, I used Prudence from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I don't know if you've seen that show,
Yeah, yeah,
but I
yes,
kind of
yes.
used that as like a character reference, and
Wow.
kind of built off of that and built my own version of Chandra off of that character. But there was a
Yes.
lot of going over it over and over again, making sure that I have
Yes.
every intention correct, making sure that I'm not going. There's not too much going on up there to
Yeah.
actually perform it. But
Yeah, I completely understand. Yes,
mm-hmm.
and that's amazing. I always looked into that craft and like acting and such, and how people are so like quick with it, because you said like, flying down to Canada or up to Canada, and like
Yeah.
yeah. Yes, and in so fast, and then like having to memorize all those lines, perform it in front of so many people, and I know nerves can also kick in, and that's amazing that you can do that. And I think that's a really great talent. And I wanted to
Thank
ask,
you.
yeah, of course. What age did you know that like you felt inside of you like you wanted to do this for a long time?
I always really liked acting, but it always felt kind of impossible.
Yeah.
There's this it's a Hollywood silver screen that
Yeah.
so many kids feel like is so unattainable if you're not near it.
Of course.
And the moment I started an acting class in Vegas, I knew that I wanted to do this for the rest of my life, or at least as long as I loved it.
Yeah.
And just doing it more and more, I realized how much I really feel like this is what I was born to do.
Wow, yeah, of course. That's wonderful. Yes.
Mhm.
And when it comes to acting, is there anything else, like any other hobbies or something else that you're like really passionate about?
Yeah, I like singing. I always have. I think even when I was a little girl, that's what I thought I was going to be doing. But things change, obviously, from the age of 2. But
Yes.
I like painting. I do that a lot. It's kind of therapeutic. It's nothing that I feel that I'm going to pursue, but it's definitely something that keeps me sane.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't know, I spend a lot of time with my friends. Like my free time I spend with my friends, because acting does take up so much of your time.
Yes.
You need a lot of social interaction.
For sure, especially during this time too. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh wow, and that's wonderful. And I wanted to ask you, like, when you became an actress, or like as you were like, increasing your resume and everything, and you gained like more of a community of people who follow you, I wanted to ask you, what's that like?
Weird. So surreal.
Yeah.
Like, you just start to think that these are like real people. It's not just a number,
Yeah, yeah.
Because when you look down at your Instagram, it's just a number on your screen.
Course,
And
of
you're like, great,
course.
it's going up. But
Yeah.
when you really sit down and think about the fact that there's a person behind each number,
Yes.
it starts to set in that like more people are actually seeing who
Yeah.
you are.
That's so true.
And it's just so weird.
Yeah, of course, it really is. Wow, and
Yeah.
I love that. How you say like it's kind of weird too, because like it's like when we look at it, we're just like, oh wow, they hit like I don't know, 1 million views on that video, but we don't think that that's really 1 million people. Like one person each sat down and watched this video.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yes.
Yeah, especially even like when Upside Down Magic came out, everyone was asking me like, "Oh, how do you feel?" Like, I'm sure it feels so crazy. I was like, it doesn't feel like it's actually gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't feel like people are actually gonna see it,
Wow, yeah.
Because you forget that it's something that a whole world of people is actually gonna take the time to watch, and that's a lot of people.
Yes, that's so true. And I this is so random, but even like clicking on like the TV and then seeing yourself on it, I don't know, that's like that would be weird to me, like to see yourself on TV. I don't know. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
want, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Something happened. Sorry.
Oh, no, no, yeah.
The day after Upside Down Magic came out, I had, my cousins come over to watch it, and I had a little bit of family come over to watch it. And the next morning, we clicked on the TV, and it was literally on my face. And I was like, that didn't just happen.
Yeah.
You actually click on your TV that you've watched since you were a baby and then see your face on it. It's, like I said, it's surreal.
Yes. Oh, and that must feel like, surreal. And wow, that's like a huge accomplishment too. And I love that. Yes, of course. And I wanted to also say, when you're like going through a hard time anytime, like, and you reach out to your friends, is there someone or something that they say specifically to you that really helps you through, like a hard time or really pushes you forward?
It's kind of cheesy, but just hearing them say, like, I'm here for you.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, really knowing that it's sincere.
Of course.
Means so much. Because as much advice as someone gives, not all of it can apply as much as they would love to help. Or even when you give someone advice, you only know so much of their situation.
Of course.
So only so much can apply. But hearing that, like, they really are there for you if you just need someone to listen to you or give you a hug or something of that nature just means a lot.
Of course, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, and when it comes to also like where your move from like Las Vegas, has that ever like affected you, especially in your environment where you live? I know that an area like that can be, it can do with a lot of looks, comparison, and everything. And I wanted to ask you, did that ever take a toll on your mental health or how you feel living in an environment?
Definitely. I think my biggest problem mentally is insecurity and that look thing and self-comparison and looking at other people and really having to sit down and think to yourself, like, there is only one you and nobody can be that except you, and there's something really special and beautiful about that. But it is really easy. I don't want to make it seem like it's easy to shove off to the side, but it's easy to sit there and see someone else and be like, I wish I looked like them, or I wish I had their this or that. And
of course,
in reality, like, it fits them perfectly, but it might not fit you so perfectly, like your own features do.
Yes.
So the looks have definitely taken a toll on me, but reminding myself of that and making sure that everyone around me knows that for themselves as well is important to me.
That's amazing, yes. And when it also comes, like you said, comparison, I always speak on social media because I feel like it's something that's a blessing, but it also has its downside. And yes, and when you said like comparison, for example, it is so easy, especially clicking on one person's photo and then seeing all of a sudden that, they have this or they have this car or, they are living this life or they have this many followers. It's so, hard for people to, keep on going with their life and seeing that, what you're living is okay and you don't have to deal with those standards, if that makes sense.
Yeah, everyone's like going at their own pace.
Exactly, yes. And that's wonderful. And I wanted to also say, when like struggling with mental health, is there any advice that you have for anyone out there?
I think the biggest thing is definitely, like I said before, talk to someone, because you don't even know how big of a deal it is until it's not in your head anymore.
Yes.
Like, when it's real and you say it, you're like, oh my God, that is a lot. I cannot believe I was dealing with that by myself. Of
course.
And don't be afraid to talk to someone like a therapist or a mental health professional, because there's no shame in it. There really, really isn't. They're there to help you.
Yes. Wow. That's, and I love that. And I know a lot of people are trying to end the stigma behind that, and how like some people used to say, I guess back in the day, like how going to a therapist makes you, odd or something like that. And I really yes, or weak, or like you can't deal with your own problems. And I'm so happy that so many people are trying to normalize the fact that going to a therapist makes you strong. Like that just shows that you have you can go to someone to talk. And
that you're willing to get better.
Yes, exactly. That's wonderful. And lastly, I wanted to say also, like, do you have any advice for anyone out there who wants to go into acting or like, wants to go into the industry, but they're nervous or scared?
Yes. If you really, really love it, I promise you it is possible. Like, start a local acting class. Start, looking for agents in your area. See what, if you know anybody who might be also wanting to get into it, and discuss it with them. And see what is up with how they're going about it and stuff like that. But patience is my biggest advice. It takes time. It's not going to happen in an instant, and you can't expect it to, or else you'll get really down on yourself and disappointed.
Wow.
So patience and work hard, acting classes.
Perfect. Yes, yes. And I'm sorry, I didn't even say this one, but also anything like when dealing with social media or like harsh comments or anyone who has something negative to say, like how do you bounce back from that? Because I know that can affect people mentally. And
yeah, I know a lot of people, and I do too. I'm definitely guilty of this, focusing on the negative comments rather than the positive ones. When there's 100 really positive comments and just one that you focus on, just know that there are so many people that would disagree with that one comment. And people like to be negative and people like to be mean, and it doesn't mean anything. They're one opinion, like they don't know you. No one except you really knows you.
Perfect.
So they can't have an opinion on something that they don't know.
Thank you. Yeah, that's wonderful. That's amazing. And they don't even know what you're dealing with or personally. Yeah, behind the screen. That's absolutely amazing advice.
There's so much more to a person than what you see in that one snapshot of a photo.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, you're right. And then people point out things that people never even notice, but like, you're so much more than that. Like that shouldn't even matter, And that's amazing.
And even if they do point out something within a photo, it's just one photo. You might not have that one thing in another photo. And even if you do have that one thing, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Yes, yes. And standards. And I noticed that usually when they point out something, it's because like, there's this standard that they have in their head of what perfect is. And then they're comparing you to that. Yeah. Yes. And I love how like everything that you say, your advice, everything, it's so inspirational, and you're like such a huge role model, especially like when looking at someone who's in this industry and they're promoting something so positive, and they're not promoting this idea of being perfect or being, fitting into this, standard.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's just because I saw all those people for so long that tried to fit into that standard, and it definitely broke me in a way that I didn't think I could be broken.
Wow. Yeah.
Which, not to say that I'm like, quote, broken, but I just don't want anybody else to feel like that. And I don't want anyone else to be in that place where they're feeling like they're less than someone else just because they're comparing themselves to like some tiny little pocket screen. It's not important, and there's so much more than that. And the other people are going through just as much as they are. They just would never let you know it.
Thank you. Exactly. That is perfect and amazing. And thank you so, so much for this, all your amazing advice, your words of encouragement, everything. It's wonderful. And yes. And I wanted to say, anyone who's watching, that I had so much fun doing this interview, and yes, definitely check out Yasmeen's new movie that just came out, Upside Down Magic. You can check it out on Disney Channel, and it's amazing, and disneygo.com, I believe. And also, if you guys ever need someone to talk to, I'm here for you. Just like Yasmeen said, I know it sounds cheesy, but yes, I'm always here for anyone who needs to talk to someone and needs help out there. And also, I'm going to link all of Yasmeen's, her Instagram, her social media, and her, I believe you have a Twitter. I saw, yes, her Twitter down below. And I hope you guys enjoy this and have a wonderful day. And thank you so much. Yes.